Yes, sir. What is going on, guys? I hope all of y'all are having a good evening. Welcome to another video of the Per Sources podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. I encourage you all to check out my channel. I have a lot more Washington Commanders / Redskins content in my channel. Please subscribe. Please like the video. I'm a Commanders fan who is from Texas, who lives in Texas, raised in Texas. Just trying to grow the channel. And thank you all for supporting. But let's get into it, guys. I wanted to make my reaction video or just talk to you all about the news that came out a few days ago that former offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders, Eric Bieniemy, has been fired from his college football job with the UCLA Bruins. Eric Bieniemy, after parting ways with the Washington Commanders, essentially being fired, but they'll call it something else. They'll call it mutually parting ways. They'll call it not renewing the contract. They'll call it a lot of things, but essentially he was fired by Josh Harris and Dan Quinn after Dan Quinn was hired. But Eric Bieniemy, after all of that, he takes a offensive coordinator position with the UCLA Bruins, even after Chip Kelly leaves the Bruins. So, like other coaches with the Washington, former coaches that were a part of the Washington Commanders franchise under Ron Rivera, things are not going that great for them. Another coach who I made a video, and I'll leave a link to that in the description, but you'll also see it pop up here towards the end of my video. You all can go ahead and click on that next video. It is Jack Del Rio was recently arrested for operating of a motor vehicle while intoxicated, while under the influence, either or. It doesn't really matter. It's basically the same thing, or OWI. And he was fired from his college position job. I think he was like a senior analyst or something, a senior advisor or something like that. But Eric Bieniemy, ever since leaving the Chiefs, he has been on a downfall, at least professionally speaking. Obviously, him being fired or him parting ways with the Bruins and with the Commanders does not mount up to what Jack Del Rio has gone through as far as being arrested. As far as I'm talking about he is not as bad. What would you say on his personal issues than Jack Del Rio? So I want to talk about Eric Bieniemy's tenure with the Commanders in this video. To me, Eric Bieniemy ended up in a bad situation, and I think he took the Commanders' job mainly as a challenge to see if he could go to one of the worst possible scenarios, one of the worst possible offenses, and see if he could fix it. Because if the outcome was a positive one, he would have looked like the main reason why, which was what was lacking in Kansas City. He was never looked as the main reason or the main factor as to why the offense was so special. And it's okay, because everybody knows Andy Reid is a genius. And when Andy Reid was with the Packers under Greg Holmgren, and when he was coaching Andy Reid, he was kind of Eric Bieniemy, but obviously a lot better. He made the offense go, but Holmgren took the credit for that, and so did Brett Favre. And so in Kansas City, Eric Bieniemy, he was the offensive coordinator. A lot of people said in name only. A lot of sources, coaches, players said no, Eric Bieniemy can draw plays. He has input in the running game, passing game. Obviously, Andy Reid takes the main responsibilities for offensive play calling. My personal opinion on that is that I do think Eric Bieniemy had some say in the offense, but when you have a head coach like Andy Reid, who also not only is he a genius, but he likes to be the play caller, it's going to be difficult for you to find any credit to go around to you. You know, Andy Reid's going to be the first one to be looked at. And but Eric Bieniemy had his credibility. You know, he was a former running back, a very good running back at that for the University of Colorado. He had previous coaching experience, and he worked his way up with the Kansas City Chiefs. And you know, he was the OC, I believe, for like 5 seasons. So he goes to the Commanders, right? Ron Rivera, we're looking for an OC. Sam Howell is going to be the quarterback. You know, we all saw that press conference where Eric Bieniemy is introduced. There was even like an episode of those behind the scenes type episodes or something like that where Eric Bieniemy is introduced in the press conference. He talks to the players. After that, he talks to Sam Howell. What do I think about his tenure with the Commanders? Obviously, it was not good, which is why he ended up being fired. I think he made some mistakes in his play calling and his offensive outlook. Number one, he was too focused on the pass when he did not have the personnel to do so. I think he saw something that the players did not see in themselves, just because he came from an organization that just had playmakers and players that could do what he was asking or what was being asked of them. The Washington Commanders did not have that, and that's why they had an overhaul of the roster during this past offseason. Number two, to focus on the passing game, not enough on the running game. We all saw that Sam Howell would always be dropping back to pass and not a lot of runs. And it was his stubbornness, Eric Bieniemy's stubbornness that also hampered the offense, because everybody knew that the passing game, was not the strength of the team. And Eric Bieniemy kept on dropping back. But I will say this. Sam Howell was not the guy to run his offense. And it was evident, and my claims are backed up by facts, because when Jacoby Brissett came in to run Eric Bieniemy's offense, it was like a complete 360 in results and efficiency of the offense. And had Jacoby Brissett been the starter from the season under Eric Bieniemy's offense, just based off how Brissett played when he did have a chance to play, who knows? Maybe, I'm not saying the Commanders would have gone to the playoffs, but they would have been closer to a winning record than they were. And it was evident, you know, with Brissett, he was dropping bombs, he was getting the ball to Terry, the running game started going, he would scramble. And so definitely having someone like Sam Howell, who was that young, hampered Eric Bieniemy and his offense. The offensive line was not great. That's what I'm saying. The personnel was not the same as in Kansas City. And I just think Eric Bieniemy did not comprehend that to where he could adjust to that. Had he comprehended that, he should have been able to adjust to his new setting, his new players, his new personnel, because whenever we did run the ball, there were some good design plays, but it just wasn't enough to get in a rhythm and to actually impose your will on the team. So he was let go. Nobody knows what he was, the offensive coordinator, of course. Financially, he's going to be okay. As you see here, he has a $1.2 million buyout in his contract. So, and I believe he's also still owed money from his offensive coordinator contract with the Commanders, millions. So he's going to be all right financially. So I don't feel bad at all. I'm just saying that the former Commanders staff and coaches have not been doing so great ever since the disaster of the Ron Rivera tenure, administration, whatever you want to call it, era ended. Ron Rivera has not also been doing so great. He had said that he was being considered for defensive coordinator jobs. I thought that was a joke, given how his defense performed even when he took over the play calls. But he got an NFL analyst job, and good for him. But yeah, guys, that's my video. What do you all think? What do you all think of Eric Bieniemy? What do you all think about the fallout from different coaches that were former coaches for the Washington Commanders? So thank you all for tuning in. Leave your comment, leave your like. Please subscribe, guys. Help me grow the channel. You all have a good night.